lost, confused, reflective. Ki, what do I do with my life? And I called up my office and told my colleagues that I'm not coming. So my executive secretary assigned to me thought that I'm burnt out for a week. So let me just cancel all appointments and kal tak aa jayega office. So I'm in Bombay. I come to Bandstand. That's where I used to live. I could afford. And I had a chai shop and I called that person ki aaj chai leke aa because I'm in a philosophical mode. Um, and that's the coin drop moment where I decided. So very clear, I was sitting, it was a warm Bombay day. I was looking at the Arabian Sea. This is that bandstand area. Shah Rukh Khan's house is at the back, and Taj West Land's End is on the left, and this beautiful joggers park, and a simple shanty serving sweet chai for 2 rupees, 3 rupees. So I just sat down and I reflected on my life that, hey, what do I want to do? And I wrote like a piece of paper and did a little bit of analysis that on the y-axis, I said how much I'm earning. And on x-axis, I wrote down Monday to Sunday. Monday to Friday, I'm earning a lot. Saturday, Sunday, I'm not earning anything. But then Monday to Friday, I'm also not very happy with the kind of job I'm doing. But on Saturday, Sunday, I'm teaching and I'm super happy. And that's the pin drop moment that I looked at this graph and I'm like, hey, I'm in the wrong industry. I think I'm spending all my life in an industry that pays me very well, but I'm not able to utilize the maximum potential and the joy I'm supposed to get. It's not joy, it's a combination of flow and other concepts. But on Saturday, Sunday, when I teach, I don't earn anything or maybe very little, but I'm super duper productive. So the question then became that, hey, I'm supposed to be here, which is education. Communication is the subject. Because of so much of practice, I know I can do very well. Now I just have to find a way to pay my bills. That was the plunge. And that started that whole journey. Of course, I um, got lucky and it was a combination of stupidity. I could have failed miserably. I still can. I mean, anything can happen in entrepreneurship. But if I look back, that coin drop moment was not the communication part, but the coin drop moment was I am in the wrong industry. But before that was a 10,000 hour rule of making sure that you enjoy communication, teach it. It's not just infatuation and a fling. You're very clear that this is what you will do. And deep inside, all of us have these thoughts. There is something we are very good at. We know it. The choice then becomes, do you want to pursue it or do you, yeah, 55 के बाद करेंगे, which is what most parents say कि guitar बाद में बजाना. That's how they teach. So I said, no, I'm going to play guitar right now and then figure out everything else.
Yeah, and that's where the meaningful name, School of Meaningful Experiences, comes into play. How was this born, and what made you plunge into that space of starting a school and have such a beautiful name, a long name, and still, like, was it literally what you went through that translated into the title of your school, or the entrepreneurial journey that you got on? And tell us about that journey.
Yeah, no, that was a coin drop moment. So I knew I will start a company. This debate was very clear by 2017. So I finished my PhD. By that time, I was anyway teaching in IIM Bangalore, IIM Udaipur, Ahmedabad University, and then you have IIM Trichy, IIM Visakhapatnam, SDM, Mysore, and my friends are everywhere, so they would call. By that time, everybody knew that I've done a PhD, so I now am a lot more connected with this topic from a research perspective. So my chances of getting into a classroom as an adjunct professor was very, very good. The question then becomes is that, do I stand a tenured professorship? The answer is no, because I think I was 35, 36, or no, I was 40 by that time. for a college to hire a 40-year-old in a professorship is not very easy, because they look at publishing papers as a milestone, which is what is a very sad dynamic these days. But theek hai, I mean, chhod do usko. There's nothing we can do about ranking systems in this world. Everybody agrees it's a nonsensical system, but everybody plays a part to make it better. So I didn't want to publish papers that nobody reads. I was happy in my own world. So I decided, ki boss, this tenureship and all, I'm not going to do it. Do I then become a consultant or whatever, which I anyway was. I was a one-man army. But then I was very clear that I'm going to create jobs and build an institution. So that clarity came. The how do I name it was a journey of about 1.5 years. And I remember this was somewhere in 2018. I think I was taking a nap, and so I knew that whatever I name, it has to be a school. Somehow that is very clear in my mind. The question then became a school of what? I mean, school of communication, school of speaking, school of 6 C's. So by that time, 6 C's was also very clear. And I was like just thinking and resting, and I had lots of notes. So I would read them, and I was sleeping. And I think I was in my sleep where my consciousness was very alive. And I had written plunge. I talk about it. I understand the word, purpose, experiences. I always felt that the biggest problem in education is that the experience for the learner is disgusting. So the word experiences flashed. Oh, school of experiences. Okay, now we have got something. And somewhere I was like, okay, what is an experience? It doesn't make any sense. And then suddenly, I think somebody would have said it to me, or my son would have said it, Kia, this is a meaningless experience. And that's when the light bulb struck that, oh, yeah, all of us know that education is such a meaningless experience. We all come out of it disgusted. Ki, boss, I'll never enter a classroom again. And I said, that's the problem I'll solve. That how do I take these completely disillusioned learners who are coming out of the education system, who have had a meaningless experience, to become better professionals and managers and human beings with a meaningful experience. So then it kind of SOME kind of happened. I woke up, ran out. My wife was having chai. It was, I think, 4:30 in the afternoon. I said, and my son was there. This was a time where all of us were together. And I said, School of Meaningful Experiences. And they all looked up and said, nice. It has a zing to it. And that's the closure. And then somebody said, SOME. That sounds even more nice. So if you ask a learner, who are you? You are a somebody. I'm like, wow, I never thought of that. But then, suddenly everything, and this is the whole universe, Kung Fu Panda, Oogway, universe will tell you what to do. So, and I just loved it. And I immediately went ahead with the registration, and that's where it is.
And when you talk about this, you're saying 2018, 2019, and then 2020, the pandemic hit. So did you plan it as something which will be virtual much before virtual classes became a reality? How did you intend moving forward, and how did you go through the pandemic?
See, I have been a very big believer of online education. Um, I'll tell you two very critical perspectives. हमारे सभ्यता में, by the way, is it okay if I mix little Hindi and English? हमारे सभ्यता में ऐसा नहीं था कि you have to always go to a gurukul. We have a story in Mahabharat where there was a learner who did not access the gurukul, but he saw the teacher, Eklavya. Dronacharya was the guru to both. And I connect with that story so much कि that was there in Three Idiots also, right? कि पढ़ने के लिए यूनिफॉर्म लगती है. What a brilliant dialogue. So I always look at that. कि there are some students who cannot come to a classroom. So how do I take a classroom to them? And technologies, and I'm a techie by heart. I'm not a let's say, a good engineer, but I connect with science and technology a lot more. I, in fact, do a lot of science storytelling and work a lot with scientists. And we recently worked with ISRO, and we will do more work with ISC and scientists. So I'm a science geek. And I know that without technology, things will not scale. So in Intel Qualcomm, 20 years ago, we envisioned a classroom which was online. And it happened. IGNOU, the Indira Gandhi National University, has been running for 4, 5 decades now. There are thousands of people who've got good education and they're doing very well in life. They may not be published in Economic Times and they may not be on LinkedIn that we cherish in various work, but they are doing extremely well. And this has been there for donkey's years. So I have been, and I'm a part-time, so I did a program called PGSM, now PGPEM. I'm a very proud alumnus of that program. I did not want to write CAT. इतना दिमाग नहीं है मेरे पास. Second is I did not want to go to a bank or a consulting company. I found this education on the weekends and I loved it and I maximized it. And I know the power of online work because in Intel Qualcomm, we were working from any place where there's a phone. This is the reality of the world. But the educational institutes don't want to let go of their power. But I'm glad the last 10 years are humbling all of us that, if you want something to happen, there are ways to make it happen. Of course, there will be a slight sacrifice. You cannot compare apple to apple. Everybody is fixated on the question, is online education as good as classroom education? The answer is no, it can never be. It's like apples versus oranges. But there are learners who don't care about coming to a classroom. So I've been a firm believer of online education. So when I started SOME, I knew online is the framework. Pandemic just made it easier for us to grow. We got lucky also. Though today I must tell you that finding online learners is getting difficult because they are frustrated with online and it's getting meaningless, boring. So I know that is also a fashionable thing. But if you look at various institutions, their online programs are thriving. There are companies which are thriving.